Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're continuing our series in the brand new Player's Handbook, talking about the subclasses that we find within. The subclasses of the old books have been reprinted, revamped, redesigned in a lot of ways. Today we're talking about an old classic, one of the favorites from 2014, the Eldritch Knight. Getting all the powers of the fighter, the armor, the weapons, the action surges, and all the rest of it. This is a absolutely classic pick that then adds magic from the wizard spell list onto your fighter, giving you a sense of utility and power in a single character that used to take basically two characters to do, the fighter and the wizard. Now you can just do it yourself. But how have they changed? Before we get into the details, I'd like to let you know, Relax Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can support me here on YouTube and get a couple benefits. First, you get a little badge next to your name in the comments, letting folks know you're a supporter. Also, you get early access to my videos. I upload videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I upload them a day early for members only. And you get access to the VIP room in the community Discord. You can talk directly to me, asking me questions about the channel, D&D, whatever you like, really. If any of that interests you, you can click the join button. It's just down there next to the subscribe button. And if it doesn't interest you, that's fine too. Just hanging out here on the channel, watching the videos, liking, subscribing, jumping in the Discord for the general chat room and sharing memes is all great stuff and a wonderful way to support me. So thank you for watching my content here on YouTube. So, Eldritch Knights. You get your subclass at level 3, and straight away you get what we're all here for, spellcasting. You use your intelligence as a caster, and you go at a rate of spell progression that some would call a 1/3 caster. This means that you progress a little slower than the half casters, paladins and rangers and artificers. Getting your spells at level 3, you get a few cantrips and a few first level spells of your choice. You get a couple spell slots to cast with. They come back on a long rest. You can change your spells as you level up. And one of the big buffs that the Eldritch Knight has now is that there is no restriction to what spell school you can have. This isn't just evocation and abjuration. No offense, defense. You can grab transmutation. You can grab illusion. You can grab necromancy, you can grab enchantment. Yeah, so you can be using spells that affect the battlefield in really, really fancy ways. You're never going to be as strong as a primary caster with your magic for 3 reasons. One, your limited spell slot progression. You don't get second level spells until level 7. Primary casters are getting 4th level spells while you're getting 2nd level spells. But 2nd level spells are nothing to scoff at on the wizard list alone. You know, for offense, you've got Shatter and Scorching Ray. For utility, you've got Misty Step, Invisibility. You can even get Hold Person. There's a lot of good stuff here. But you're getting these at level 7 while other people got them at level 3. And then they're getting things like Dimension Door and Polymorph. And yeah, there's certainly a disparity here. But they don't get all the fighter features. Then you get 3rd level spells at level 13, so if you do want to throw out a fireball, you've got plenty of time to buff your intelligence until you get to the higher levels. But that's your second problem, the fact that you have to split your scores. You still want to have a good strength or dex based on what kind of fighter you want to be, but then you want to have a good intelligence so that you can do good with your magic, and you're going to want to have a good con because everyone wants a good con, especially if you're focusing on concentration. But you do have con saving throw proficiency. So you're a little bit more multiple ability score dependent with this fighter than you would be with a normal one. And then the last problem is the fact that when you are using your spells, they still take actions and bonus actions to cast, meaning that you're not going to be able to use a lot of your fighter features on the turns you're doing it. And Action Surge did get nerfed. So now when you action surge, you can't use the magic action as the second thing. You could still cast a spell, action surge, and attack, but you can't cast a spell, action surge, and attack again. And then cast a spell again. That's been removed, so that's another thing. But I still think that the overall spell casting is a solid thing. Cantrips alone will get you a ways. Take Blade Ward, True Strike if you've invested in your intelligence, Booming Blade if you haven't. If you want Firebolt or Ray of Frost or Toll the Dead, those are all fine too, as long as your intelligence doesn't suck. I think that overall, I'm going to give this version of spellcasting 8 out of 10. It's great on a fighter to have this extra power, but it's just never going to stand up to the casters that, are fully dedicated to their craft. The other thing you get at level 3 is War Bond. This allows you to bond with a weapon, making it your, preferred weapon. And when you do that, the only thing that it does is that if you're disarmed from it, or if it's far away from you for some reason, you can use a bonus action and just snap it into your hands. No matter how far away it is from you, it just teleports right to your hand. You can have 2 bonded weapons, so if you're a dual wielder, you can, do this. You can do this with magic items, and as long as it's not attuned to by someone else, or if another fighter is bonded to the weapon, another Eldritch Knight is, you can't do it, but how often is that going to happen? The point is that, yeah, it's easy to bond to any weapon you want, and it's cool. It's a flavor text. That's the thing for me. How often are you disarmed? It doesn't happen very regularly. It doesn't happen in my games hardly ever. I admit that if you're going up against a situation where you get knocked unconscious, maybe you all lost a combat, there was a TPK, and the DM decided that instead of the party dying, they were just going to be captured and thrown in prison or something, and now you can get your weapon back? Yeah, sure. But that doesn't happen very often. And yes, I know about the situation where, you can leave your weapons somewhere else and you go into a heavily guarded, secure area where they pat you down. They're like, do you have any weapons on you? You're not allowed to bring weapons to see the king. Nope, I have no weapons. You can search me. And they search you and they find nothing. And then all of a sudden you can snap your greatsword into your hand. It's cool. Please don't get me wrong. But how often is that going to happen? Once a campaign, maybe twice? Another once or twice for the, knocked unconscious bit where you're disarmed and chained up or something. It just feels like, as cool and as thematic as it is, it's never going to come up. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. For those rare occasions that it's going to save your life, sure. For the rest of the game, you're going to forget that this exists. Anyway, let's move on to level 7. At level 7, you get the War Magic feature. When you take the attack action, you can replace one of the attacks with a wizard cantrip that has a casting time of an action. Amazing. This used to be a Bladesinger exclusive. Now Eldritch Knights get it. And this means that they can use their, attack, hit like normal, and then use True Strike or Booming Blade to just add more damage to their attacks. Or if they need extra defensiveness, they can throw up their Blade Ward if they haven't already. They can hit with their sword and shoot a ranged attack, or vice versa. They could, shoot a bow and use a cantrip like Shocking Grasp for close range. There's options galore, and none of them are bad as long as you've got the stats to back them up, which fighters usually do. I think that this is peak Eldritch Knight, and it's 10 out of 10. At level 10, you get Eldritch Strike. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, the creature has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes against one of your spells before the end of your next turn. So this can be a great setup if you're using saving throw based cantrips with War Magic. You go in, you stab someone with your sword, cast Toll the Dead on them. Not only have you wounded them, so you get to do the extra damage, but they also have disadvantage on their save. Or if you plan something a little bit bigger, you can use your attack as your main action, and then on your next turn, you can use a save or suck effect. You'll have level 2 spells by now, so hold person's a thing. And yeah, you can just lock someone down and they have disadvantage. I think it's really, really good. I don't think it's broken because your spells aren't going to be that impactful by the time you get to this higher level of play, but it's gonna matter in some cases. So I'm gonna give this 9 out of 10. I think it actually gets better at level 13 because you could throw out like Hypnotic Pattern or Slow or Fear or one of those effects. And if you're a ranged fighter, you could just use your, triple attack, because you get that at level 11, hit 3 enemies on the battlefield, and then you can cast a spell on them next turn, debuffing them. It's a shame this doesn't work with Action Surge anymore. But I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. At level 15, you get Arcane Charge. This simply says that when you use Action Surge, which you can do once per day, twice per day at higher levels, or sorry, once per short rest, twice per short rest at higher levels, you can teleport 30 feet before or after the additional action. So basically, you just add a Misty Step onto your Action Surge. Cool. You have Misty Step anyway, so you could do both, because this isn't technically the spell. This is just the Action Surge Arcane Charge. So if you really, here's a thought for you. If you need to cover, you might be the fastest fighter runner in the game. Because if you've got a standard 30-foot walking speed, move with your action surge, move with your movement, dash with your action, that's 60 feet, then action surge to teleport 30 feet, dash again with that second action, that's 120 feet, and then you can bonus action Misty Step. You could make it, technically speaking, 150 feet, utilizing all of your resources in 6 seconds. That might make you the fastest character without getting like a speed boost. And I guess if you use Longstrider, which you can definitely get from your first level spells, all of those go up by 10 feet other than the teleports, leaving you with 180 feet at that point. Yeah, you might be the best mover. It's not going to happen all the time, but fighters use their action surges most days. And this is going to just help you tactically put yourself where you need to be when you action surge. I give it 9 out of 10. Finally, at level 18, you get improved War Magic. Now when you take the attack action, you can replace 2 of your attacks. You have 3 right now, and you're going to get 4 at level 20. To cast a first or second level spell with a casting time of an action. So now, if you need to do an AoE, but you still want to hit the big target, you've got a bunch of baddies in front of you, you want to hit the big guy in the front, and then sacrifice 2 of your attacks for a Burning Hands or something, or, a Shatter for a ranged attack, or a Scorching Ray, I don't know. There's options here. I certainly think it's cool that you could combine this with the other War Magic, because it doesn't restrict them from each other. So you've got 3 attacks. You could throw out an action cantrip and an action first or second level spell in the same turn, because you're replacing the attacks, 1 for the cantrip, 2 for the leveled spell. This is a phenomenal combo, whichever way you swing it. It's as good as the War Magic feature. It just comes much, much later, so your second level spell isn't really going to impress the boss. But you're not fighting bosses every day. You're fighting minions, and you're fighting armies, and you're fighting skirmishes, and using your lower level spells are still going to matter. Yeah, I think that this is still 10 out of 10. Overall, I think the Eldritch Knight is a fantastic package. I think that it comes with everything you need to be great. The only real downside is that it's forcing you to pick, because up until the very late game, you're going to be making either attacks with your weapons or attacks with your spells, and if you try to do both, you're going to be better at one than the other. Fighters get, like I said, 7 feats throughout their career. I suppose it's 6 plus an epic boon feat. But the point is that if they want to just crank their stats, they could start with a 16 in strength and a 16 in intelligence, and even a 16 con if they build themselves perfectly. And then in 4 feats, they could get their strength and their dexterity, their strength and their intelligence to 20. That would happen at level 10, 12? I think it would be level 10. It's 4, 6, 8. I think it might be 12. So you can max out your stats by then, but then you have no additional feats to speak of to boost your damage. You don't have Great Weapon Master. You don't have, Warcaster or anything like that. So it's a high level build. It's the kind of thing that takes a while to get rolling. But thankfully, in the lower levels, you're going to do just fine if you just act like a fighter. Strap on heavy armor, or if you're a dex-based fighter, medium armor. Focus on your weapon masteries, which you still have. Focus on your primary weapon and, your damage dealing, and use your spells to supplement. Use them for utility. Use them for defense. The shield spell, for God's sake. It is plenty of power in here. It's just not going to give you quite as much oomph as some of the other fighter subclasses could, because you have to wait until your spells reach a certain level before they really start to kick into high gear, by which point other casters are overshadowing you quite a bit. So even then, the magic is still a supplement. That's what it really is. You're an Eldritch Knight, your magic supplements your fighting, which is fine. It does a great job at doing that. I give the whole subclass 9 out of 10. It's not perfect. You do got to split up your ability scores, and you got to know what you're trying to build. If it is possible to build a bad Eldritch Knight. Focus too much on your intelligence. Don't get the spells that do the damage you want them to do. Fighters are better damage dealers when they've got weapons in their hands. But overall, it's still a solid subclass, and I think it's one of the top picks. It's very high 9 out of 10. If it had managed to solve the intelligence and strength or dex problem, I'm not sure exactly how, but if it had, then I might have given it 10 out of 10. As it stands, it's still a great choice if you like magic with your fighter. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, and keep your eyes peeled for more subclass reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.